There's not a whole lot else like it in the world to get perspective. Little time in the redwood forest do anybody good. Maybe that's just my opinion, but it's in places like these where you kind of get that feeling of just being very, very small. Fun places for me. Both my kids learned to walk here. I would take them when they were babies, hike for hours. We would eat the wild blackberries that grow all through here. And really, as soon as they could get out of that backpack, they were running down these trails every day, hard enough to keep them from, tripping and falling into the poison oak. But it was just such an incredible life and lifestyle to be here and to just get to enjoy this super majestic landscape every day. Hi everyone. Today I have the special pleasure of revisiting my old home. Now, some of you may know, people I've been doing business with for a while, I called the Santa Cruz Mountains home from fall of 2009 through spring of 2015. And I would hike these woods every single day in the coastal redwoods. Now, behind me, what is here that you can see is one tree burned out. The whole inside of the heartwood is gone, but it continues to grow very well. It's a pretty good sized tree behind me. Now, there's actually two. This one immediately to my left actually still has a tiny bit of growth on it, but it is more into the decomposition phase of its particular life cycle. So it's feeding everything around it. The lichen is growing on it, kind of helps to keep the moisture in. But the most fascinating thing about these trees is that they're all a community. The redwoods that grow in here are all connected, and they just grow incredibly well. Now, this area was actually cut out completely when San Francisco was being rebuilt for the second or third time after it had burned down. Henry Cowell, where this park is actually named after, made money in the lime business for cement, and a lot of these trees were cut for the kilns, and the kilns are maybe 5 or 6 miles from here, not too far. You can go back in and see what they were, but there's an old growth section not far from here where I am, about a mile walk from here, where there's trees that are 2,000, 2,200 years old that are just massive. Now, some of these giants got saved. The rest of them are 100, 120 years old, but they quickly got up to that 150-foot height in this environment. Now, the great thing about this, and what again, I used to walk this path nearly every day with my kids, with my dogs, talking on the phone, conference calls, is the compost that's created that feeds everything else around here. It's actually quite beautiful if you dig down into the ground and see how many, just the years and years of layers of what's happening naturally here. is very beautiful. And I just always found so much inspiration when I would come in here and hike around and, be on conference calls and things like that, because it was the whole concept of seeing the carbon capture, plants working in balance and tune with their environment. These trees get a lot of rainfall, but take a significant amount of moisture in through the fog that happens here. Because we're not far off the coast. Directionally from here, maybe 5 miles. It's not too far. But this really helped me to kind of tune in the concepts of the balance of taking things out versus leaving them in, having the whole ecosystem working together. So many of these trees have gotten, they're old enough to where they've picked up others on their growth. And you'll look and see sometimes up high where it's very plain to see that there's 2 trees, like they started out together close. One of them took over for the other and carried it up. Yeah, up. Now, another thing that happens is sometimes when that does go on, and I'm just looking around to see if I can see one here, the soil scoops up as well. And there's mulberries that grow up in the hooks and in the branches of these trees. Look, I got a little compost on my face. That's pretty sweet. We're just gonna go ahead and wipe that off. It's very nice, feels good. But if you look up here, you can see this branch right in the middle of the screen where it's extra thick. That is another tree that was picked up, and it's growing straight off that branch. And you can just see it directionally how it took that up there. So they're able to adapt and change and grow just untouched, and it's beautiful. Now, this tree, again behind me, is completely burned out. I'm gonna go up inside of it here. It's pretty big. Clearly signs of fire long ago. Burned out the inside, but the thickness of the cambium and the bark keep this tree growing as if nothing happened. And it may be hard to grasp how big this is, and maybe if I back up to it and put my hands so you can kind of see what we're dealing with here with my wingspan. It's big. It's pretty big. This is the inside of the tree, so it goes another few feet that way. But these trees have just been growing and balanced, and at the same time they give up themselves every now and again and lay down to go to the forest floor to feed it. And so we see things in different layers of basically nutrient management for all of these trees. So again, just a little history and a little fun. This was one of my points to where I really started to understand this carbon cycling and how important it is to keep things down in the ground and continue to feed that biology to allow everything else to grow more harmoniously. So that's just a little tip. I just wanted to share a little something out of my past, give you guys some beautiful views here to take a look and just kind of see this sort of glorious splendor of nature.